Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? My voice doesn't carry very well. Is that better? All right. So my name is Shaun Wright. I am from Home Energy Solutions. We're a mechanical company in Kalamazoo. We do a lot of DOE net zero energy ready houses, and Brett asked me to tell you guys a little bit about those. I will tell you that some of you might want to take me outside and shoot me because all these houses I'm going to show you do have a natural gas furnace combined with a heat pump for them. And there's a number of reasons for why we did that. Um, and hopefully I'll have enough time at the end of this that I can explain to you why that is the way that it is. The current projects we have going on right now are these three up on the screen. We have the Kalamazoo Eastside Gateway Project, Tom's Habitat for Humanity houses. I think you got about a half a dozen going at any given time. And then there is a community down in northern Indiana called the Village in Burns Harbor that I'll tell you a little bit about. The Eastside Gateway Project is a group of 7 zero energy homes that was currently being built. We're working on the fourth one right now between for-profit builders, the Kalamazoo County Land Bank, the neighborhood itself, and the city of Kalamazoo. All of these houses are being built by for-profits, and they're coming in at a little bit under $200 a square foot to give you an idea of what it costs down there to do a market rate zero energy ready house. These are not zero energy yet; they still need solar and a couple other things. But all of the houses are about 1,100 square feet, and they're on full basements that are 1,100 square feet. Uh, these have an 18,000 BTU heating load and a 1-ton cooling load in them. And they have the Dettson Smart Duct system, which is a gas-fired furnace combined with their Alize heat pump. So they have the option of doing gas or electric. This is the air handler in the basement and the outside unit. If you notice, the outside unit looks like a mini split compressor because it is. And Dettson took that and they tied that into an indoor A coil. It's a standard air conditioner coil. They pulled the piston out of it. It's actually the same one that Linux uses. And then they did a bunch of engineering and some software writing, made some control boards to make everything talk to each other, and made them a really efficient ducted whole house heat pump system that is as efficient as any multi-head mini split or ducted mini split that I've seen. So, on the supply side, the entire duct system runs through one 8-inch duct down the middle of the basement, and you'll see up there those little 2.5-inch duct runs are our supply runs to each room. So it's a very small footprint. Everything will fit inside of your walls. Usually we don't need any bulkheads in an entire house, and we can still get supply air to every single room. The other nice thing about this is it just needs a central return because our CFM is so low. We don't need to have a return air in each room. You just need a 1/4-inch undercut underneath your door. Most doors, when you buy them pre-hung, they come with a 1-inch undercut, so you're set there, and it can draw that air right underneath there without any comfort issues. Tom's houses, so Habitat for Humanity, all of his houses are zero energy ready certified. His average load is about 12,000 BTU in heating and somewhere around a half a ton of cooling. He's driven that down into the 8,000 BTU range in some of these houses. Part of that depends on the orientation of the house and such, but it's really tough to get less than that unless you start going to passive house standards, and that starts bringing the price of the cost up substantially. And I wanted to give him a shout out. There's this house right there. Tom won the grand award from the DOE for the most innovative affordable house in the nation last year. So I wanted to throw that up there just to give him accolades and to let you know that I put the Dettson system in that house too. So. And then the village in Burns Harbor was the first community in the nation to get the National Green Building Standard Green certification as a community. And when the builders of this house that's going up right now asked me if I'd be interested in being a part of that, I was excited to go down and see that community and work with them on this house. The nice thing about this community and this house they're building right now is it is a market rate spec house. So they are building this house without a buyer, and they're doing it at market rate. I believe they've sold this house. It doesn't even have siding on it yet or drywall, and I think they've just sold it. But it's 2,800 square feet, and these builders down in Indiana just want to do things right. They want to make a house that is going to last forever, that is incredibly energy efficient, and will take care of the owners for a long time. And I looked at their building envelope details, and it's really impressive. They're doing all the stuff that Tom Tischer's doing, and it's just and they're making it happen, and they're making a profit out of it. So this 2,800 square feet is a 19,000 BTU heat load, and their design temperature down, it's right at the southern part of Michigan. Their design temperature is actually lower than where we are in Kalamazoo because of all the cold they get that comes off of Lake Michigan. So they did a really good job with that. This one's also got the smart duct system, natural gas furnace with the hybrid heat pump on it. So here's the details of the systems that went in. There's a misconception that you can't get a natural gas forced air furnace less than about 30,000 BTU. Dettson's got a modulating system that will modulate down to 6,000 BTU, 97% efficient, and they've been making them for years. They've been in Canada for years. There's tens of thousands of them out there. We finally, about 5 years ago, brought them into Michigan and into the United States because our energy code finally is starting to catch up with Canada, and there is a demand for it. And it's going back to Tom. I'm going to keep picking on Tom at Habitat. I was looking for a solution, so I took a risk and brought him in. So that furnace couples with their electric heat pump, which will modulate down to 2,500 BTUs. And then with the smart duct system, which is that 2.5-inch duct, you can go up to 3 tons of cooling and 60,000 BTUs of heating through that smart duct, but you can't really get past that because at that point you're into a conventional system and you're trying to shove a whole lot of air through a small duct. But when we're down into those low loads, even a 4-inch or even a 3-inch metal duct, which is about the smallest you can get without having it custom fabricated, is way too big to deliver airflow throughout a house. On the heat pump side, these systems are up to 27 SEER and a COP of about 3.8. And like they were saying, your COP does go down the farther down that you go. But these numbers are based on all of the standards that they do for certification, so you can compare apples to apples. But I can guarantee you when it's 5 degrees outside, you're not going to get 3.8 out of it. You're probably going to be down at around the 2 range, maybe 1.82. The central returns, we do ask that there's one on each floor. That way, if you put a central return on one floor and you have a door on your stairwell and you close it, that may create too much resistance. So we ask you to just put a return on each floor. These systems, believe it or not, their installed costs are coming in less than builder grade conventional systems. So if you hire a builder or hire an HVAC guy to do the mechanicals in a spec house, he's going to get the cheapest 13 SEER AC unit he can find, the cheapest 95% single stage furnace he can find, run the ductwork. And we're coming in cheaper because we are spending less than half the amount of time and labor to install it because it installs so quickly. The other really nice thing about this, and the first 3 or 4 houses I went around with a temperature sensor and we did some pressure diagnostics, is that when it's installed, we're getting less than a half a degree of temperature variation throughout the entire house, and that's whether the doors are open or closed or wherever you are in the house. And our pressure differentials are almost zero as well, so that 1/4 inch to 3/8 of an inch undercut in your doors actually is effective, and you're not overpressurizing bedrooms and such. So here's a couple pictures of the systems. That far furnace over here, that is their compact. That will go down to 6,000 BTUs. They also sell that in just an air handler version. That's the size of a suitcase. So it really is. That's actually in a closet in a Habitat house. And then up above that gray box is the A coil for the heat pump that's tied to it. This is their standard format furnace up above. They also have a furnace that goes down to 6,000 BTUs in that format. This particular house was built for an elderly couple, and so we got a little non-standard. We put it on a bottom-based return, brought the return air up, and made the filter rack horizontal at waist level so that they didn't have to bend down to try to change their filter every 4 or 6 months. So that just looking into the future for them, they wanted to be as independent as possible for as long as possible, so we made those modifications for them. That looks like a giant return air system, but that's just basically to handle the filter rack so that we could get that big MERV 11 filter in there. Once it gets above out of the picture, it goes to a 10 by 10 duct is all it's needed for that. So you don't have to run that huge duct work for return air. inside your walls, all you have are these 2.5-inch flexible ducts. They are fire rated. That was usually the question we got from the inspectors over the first couple of years. They're fire rated. They're made out of fiberglass, actually, and they're really easy to drop through the walls. And I got about 1 minute left, so just want to remind you that they do make this in all permutations so that you can use a natural gas furnace down to 6,000 BTUs. You can get just an air handler and couple it with a heat pump. You can use the heat pump combined with a furnace. They also have a Supreme Electric, which is a fully modulating electric resistance furnace with an ECM drive. They use those a lot in Canada because when it's negative 40 degrees outside, there's pretty much nothing else that's going to heat your house if you want to be all electric. But those are also available in the United States if you wanted them. So I know a lot of you guys are going to wonder why or how can you put natural gas into a net zero home. So I kind of made the list, and this is specific for Michigan and in our area. Looking up the actual numbers for Michigan, the utility bills are about half if you use natural gas still versus the most efficient heat pump you can get. And that's because, unlike Minnesota, our electric rates are 13.8 something cents per kilowatt hour, but our natural gas price per therm is just under 60 cents. And so there's a huge swing. And in order to move the world and the United States into net zero, we still have to address their comfort issues, we have to address the budget issues, and we have to be able to do what homeowners are looking for. So if we can offer them a system like this, where they can spend the money on natural gas right now and literally go to their basement at any time when they get solar on their house, or if electrical prices decrease and natural gas goes up, they literally flip a switch and they're on an air-to-air heat pump. I think that is a great way for us to get this out into the community and really increase the number of net zero energy houses to build that momentum up. So with that, I'll end it because I'm out of time, and I can answer any of these questions that you might have.
We have questions.